I watch my audience and listen to them, and I know that we're all getting something out of our system, and none of us knows what it is. The important thing is that we're getting rid of it and nobody's getting hurt.
Hey folks, Michael Zane, Trusty here. Stay tuned here. I'm going to tell you about my good buddy, Bill Monroe. And hey, while you're here on my channel, subscribe below.
Here's Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys. Let her go, boys.
And take him out to dinner, and I got talking to him, told him I was a songwriter and a singer, and I was going to be on the show with him. And he said, well, play me something. So I picked up the guitar and I played him one of my songs and that I'd written. He said, wow, that's a good song. You ought to be out here doing this. And I said, well, I'm going to be doing this with you here in a day or two. And he said, yeah, but you need to be doing this professionally. That's good stuff there. And of course we talked and had a good time.
Here's Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys.
He said, I'm so glad you called. He said, where are you at? And I said, well, I was calling from a shoe store somewhere. I can't remember. We went in to look for some boots, and he said, well, hey, I'll send my driver right over to get you. I said, well, Bill, I'm driving, so I don't really need a driver. He said, well, no, you can follow him out to my house. I thought, well, hey, that's a great deal. So I'd like to go out and see Bill Monroe and visit with him at his home. And all these pictures weren't on the wall. They were on the floor. They're actually sitting around the baseboard. They weren't hung up yet. And I looked at the kitchen. I went to the kitchen for a drink. He asked me to go in there and get him some water or something. I looked, and on an old stove there was a little picture of Marty Stewart. Oh, just a little picture of Marty Stewart there. He said, hey, you wanna go to the Opry with me tonight? I thought, whoa, yeah, that'd be great. You know, I hadn't been to the Opry in a while. I'd love to go backstage with you tonight. And he said, well, let's get ready. We're gonna go, you know. So he got his driver ready, and we headed out to go to the Grand Ole Opry. And I got to talking a lot. You know, there's one question I always wanted to ask Bill Monroe, because, you know, my idol was Elvis. So I said, Bill, you know, you're bluegrass, the father of bluegrass, and Elvis, he's rock and roll, but you let him record your song. How'd that come about, and why'd you do that? And he said, well, I just told the boy, if it'll help you, boy, then do it.
Blue moon, blue moon, keep shining bright.
I asked him one time, we were sitting in a Cracker Barrel there in Nashville, my third or fourth trip out to Nashville at one time. We called him and we had dinner, and we went out, and I said, Bill, what's all this music business about to you? What's it all about? And he said, let me show you what it's about. He went up to the cash register, as I remember, and he took a couple of dollars and he asked for a few dollars worth of quarters. And he went around and he did little children that were eating there, and he would have them open their hand, and he would put a quarter in their hand. And boy, they'd light up like a Christmas tree. And then he would introduce himself to the parents. He said, hello, I'm Bill Monroe, Grand Ole Opry. And he come back to the table. He said, that's what it's about. That's what it's all about. Seeing that the love in those children's eyes, the smile on their face, and people happy. He said, that's what I like. You know, some have asked, well, what's your favorite memory with Bill Monroe? Because, you know, I had a lot of them, and I think the time that I went with him after an Opry show, we went to see Steve Earle and Emmylou Harris. They were actually playing on a stage there in downtown Nashville at some university get-together. And we went and walked in the back, and actually he parked upon the sidewalk, and I said, "Hey, you're going to get a ticket for this?" And he said, "Well, that's all right, we'll just have to get it out. There's no place to park." So we got out, me and him and his driver, and we walked in the door there and got through the back entrance, and they let us in, and he's walking toward the stage, and Emmylou Harris and Steve Earle were on the stage playing. They had a song going. And here, hold my mandolin. So I'm sitting here holding his 110-year-old mandolin in my hand, all alone there. And we walk up on the backstage, and I'm sitting. We can see the backs of Emmylou Harris and Steve Earle. And I said, "Where are you going, Bill?" He said, "I'm going to go out there and sing." I said, "Well, they're in the middle of something. You going to do that?" He said, "Well, sure, I'm going to do it." So he walks there, and they were doing some television stuff, and the television people stopped, and he said, "You can't go out there." He said, "I can go out there." They said, "Well, sir, you can't go out there. Mr. Monroe, you can't go out there." He said, "I can do anything I want to do. I'm going out there." And I mean, he walked right out there on the middle of that stage. And the people started wailing, and they were all screaming, and then Emmylou Harris and Steve Earle were playing. They looked at each other like, what did we just do to make these people scream? You know, they didn't know Bill Monroe was coming up behind them. Well, Steve Earle, he turned around, and he goes, "Oh, what in the world's this?" Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Monroe.
Would you make welcome the great Bill Monroe?